ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Living Full. So here, what we're trying to do is to allow people find themselves, unleash their genius, uncover their genius, lead intentionally, and leave empty. That's what the acronym full. So this is the coaching impact version of the program, and we have Coach Ruth Haruna. Welcome, Ruth.
Thank you so much, Dan. So good to see you.
Good to have you here. Good to have you here. It's exciting. I was actually getting ready for church on Sunday, and then I just see the notification. I'm like, okay, let me just catch up with her. I've not seen her for a while, and then I see you pop up, and it was exciting to catch a little bit of what you're doing in Nigeria, and and this is something personally. Africa is dear to my heart, and empowering Africa. I'm actually working on a project called Consciousness Africa, where we want to raise the global African consciousness, and we'll be talking about that subsequently. But today it's about you for now. So let's talk about you. So we've got an hour. The first 5 minutes is just you telling us a little bit about yourself, who you are, your background, what you're up to. And then the next 25 minutes we'll go into what is it, we'll go into detail in terms of the project that you're working on right now. So
Okay. Hi, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm so excited. So my name is Ruth Haruna, and I am popularly known as Coach Rutina.
Wow, what does that mean?
Okay, so the Rutina is like a nickname.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know how they coined it, but they kept calling me Rutina, and I picked up the name.
That's good.
Yeah, so I have been working with children, parents, and families for almost 15 years now.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. I started working with a local NGO, non-governmental organization that is founded by the wife of the former Vice President, Titi Atiku. And the work I did there kind of built my passion and my desire to help children, because I have always had the passion to work with children and create healthy environments for children to grow and thrive and fully realize their potential. And while I started with teachers and schools, I discovered that the children spend more time with the family, and the children spend more time with their parents. This was what informed my decision to go into family strengthening. So I started boosting my skills, training myself. I went to Uganda, in Kampala. There was an international training in Tanzania, one in Baltimore, and I just kept building my skills to become an international trainer on training parents to become better in creating a healthy environment for their children, and the whole positive parenting program had just come into Nigeria then, and I was opportune to work with the very first project that brought in family strengthening into Nigeria. So I did that project for almost 5 years, and we were able to build and develop curricula, and we trained a lot of master trainers, trained parents, and we started seeing the shifts and the change in risky behavior of teenagers and adolescents as a result of the trainings we were giving their parents, because parents were more supportive, more understanding, and the relationship between the parents and the children were improving, and that led to a significant change in the lifestyle of those adolescents and young people. So basically, this is what I do. I train parents and I counsel parents as well. I'm a master mentor and a relationship coach as well.
Wow. and I
Yeah,
can
I
see
just,
the excitement and everything as you're talking about what you do, and it's so much fun to see, you know, because this is what you know, it's all about
mhm,
allowing people to find what is it that makes their heart. You know, somebody said it, I don't know who it is, but he said, you know, find what makes your heart sing, and this is making your heart sing, and I see you grinning from ear to ear,
it
and it's
does.
exciting. It's like me talking about coaching in general, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. It's great to see, and obviously you've had a lot of great reception from parents, from society, from the community, and you know, just even watching your talk on Sunday morning.
Mhm.
I could see that indeed, you know, personally, I caught a bit from there because, you know, we have a 5-year-old, and sometimes she can be a handful, you know, and then there are those times where you're tempted to scream and shout like, get out of there, you know, and I learned a few things that I've already tried to apply. And you know, this morning
Wow.
we had a conversation. I'm like, okay, you know what, moving forward, there is no to go, you know, and it
Thumbs
was
up
yeah,
for you, my friend. I'm so
oh yeah,
proud
it
of
was,
you.
good. And you know, because
Wow.
she has this habit of just like she'll wake up in the morning and she'll say good morning, but then when it's time for breakfast, she doesn't want to have breakfast. She'll be jumping and, you know, from the living room to the, and so I'm like, okay, you know what, moving forward, you
Mhm,
say good morning after brushing your teeth, you sit at the
mhm.
dining table and you wait for your breakfast.
Oh,
And
lovely.
you know, and you know, for some reason she saw that this was different. This was firm. This was
Serious
no shouting,
conversation.
you know. So that's
Amazing.
I learned something that day, and I look forward to joining you, and we'll talk about the workshop coming up shortly, the master class. Actually, maybe we'll just get into that right now. So let's go back. You've been in this area for 15 years.
Mhm.
What's the background? What drew you to the whole idea of family enhancement?
Okay. So I was born and raised in a polygamous family,
Okay.
very large family of 21 children, three
Hmm.
wives, and a father. So you can imagine the chaos. There was no attention for younger children. The older children got a little attention when they were, fewer children in the household. And we were actually trained by our elder sisters. Our
Okay.
parents were busy earning incomes and taking care of fees and all that and the bills. So I was confused as a young person. I had a lot of questions as a teenager. There was a day I needed to take a decision and I was clueless as to how to go about taking a decision. Firstly, because nobody taught me the skills on decision making. So when
Right.
you talk about life building skills, zero. Zero self-esteem, very, very low confidence, very shy young girl, confused, walking around and just vulnerable for any kind of vice or whatever out there in the world. So I told myself that when I graduate from the university, I'm going to spend my life building a foundation and creating platforms and fora that would boost mentoring for young people. And then when I discovered that the parent will be the best mentor for the child, I decided to focus on family strengthening. And I started training parents because I want parents to be able to be there for their children. I don't want any young person, any teenager to be confused, naive, or taken advantage of by anyone while they have parents or responsible adults around them. So this is what fueled my passion and like pulled me to this area. And I really know that I have seen the difference. You see, there can be two people coming from either the same household or the same area where they were raised, born and raised. But
Mhm.
one gets exposed to certain soft skills and they fly, they thrive, their potential is unleashed. The
Right.
other that is not exposed to some of these soft skills struggles and just cannot find the bearing of what he or she should do. So I decided that we need to boost the skills of parents and at the same time of children. So when I'm working with a child, I also work with the parent, and it's a holistic approach. So I'm not teaching the child about communication skills, and then he goes back home, and then the parent doesn't know anything about communication skills, and there is a backlash. So what I do is train the parent, train the child, and provide any kind of support and coaching so that they can stand together and the child can thrive and fully realize their potential.
Awesome, awesome. And you know this, but for the parents who don't understand what soft skills mean,
Mhm.
how can you describe soft skills? I personally don't like to call them soft skills because it reduces the
Their
importance of,
value.
yeah.
I
But
totally agree with you.
so what are soft
Yeah.
skills, and what are those skills, I mean, that you refer to as soft skills that parents need to first display, but also inculcate into their children so that they grow up to be responsible and productive adults?
Beautiful. I love this question because it makes me talk about the different facets of these skills. First of all, there are personal values, okay? Those are the values and principles that a human being has. And I know that every parent has those. You are honest and you want your child to be honest. That's why we hammer them about don't lie. Please tell me the truth, okay? And then there is integrity, there is transparency, there is accountability, there is patience and kindness, and all those values that you want to, practice it and show your child that it is possible to be an adult and practice and live a life truly exhibiting these values. So when I train parents on identifying your values and then deliberately identifying teachable moments to teach your children about those values, it's really, really important. The second part of soft skills is life building or essential skills. There is self-esteem, confidence building, there is decision making and goal setting, and of course, negotiation skills, communication skills, and all that. But recently, there is another skill that has been introduced, and it is called growth mindset. The fact that every human being has the capacity to boost and improve themselves, to challenge themselves to shift from their comfort zone and go into the growth zone where you are challenged to become better. So that way the parent or the child does not keep thinking that, oh, I'm just stupid, I will never get this math formula, but that with practice and with the right approach, you can become better at whatever you put your mind to do. So that is that for life skills. The other one is emotional fitness. Okay, what we all call emotional intelligence. Okay, yes. So the fact that you have anger issues and you let your temper loose can make you lose a job. I know you have been on this matter. Like the lack of skill to tolerate frustration. You're frustrated and everybody around you must be frustrated. You ruin the relationships around you. You ruin the relationship between you and your child. You get to the place of job and you're still not happy and may lose your job or may not even be promoted at all. So there is anger management or transformation. There is frustration tolerance. There is fear, anxiety, worry, depression. There is loss and grief. These are things that we need to make deliberate efforts to learn how to manage, transform. So basically the art of having a relationship with your emotions. And I
you're talking and my mind is like because these are it's just an amazing it's amazing time. It's an amazing time to reconnect, because I was having a conversation with another colleague who's actually based in the US, and we were talking about these same things in terms of my project to Consciousness Africa. And I'm like, these are the skills, these are the things that we ought to spend more time teaching in the schools. You know, imagine if these skills were being taught in schools just as well as parents were adding to them. You know, listen, anybody can go online and do 3 times 3 and you know that it's 9. You can do 5 times 7 and you know that it's 35.
That's right. That's right.
Not easily, you cannot develop communication skills just by going online. You cannot develop resilience and you know, balanced mindset or grief management. You cannot do that by doing research. So I think it's about time that the entire educational structure, you know, in our countries, on the continent, but the world over, is about time that we make some changes. All right, because
I agree with you.
I've worked, you know, many people don't know this, but I got my first job when I was 9 years old, and I've been working ever since 9. Okay, and I've worked in over 17, I think 20 different industries so far. All right. Now, in each of these industries, I've had to learn new technical skills. Okay, so you can teach anybody a new skill, but you cannot easily teach behavior and attitude. And so definitely that's very, very important. Okay. What have been some of the challenges that you encounter as you try to teach parents or work with parents or even the kids to support them?
So one key challenge I face every time is mindsets. The African mentality that this is how it was done, this is how we must do it, and we're not gonna change nada. Okay, my parents raised me this way, so I'm gonna raise my children this way. After all, I'm an adult, I'm responsible, I'm standing here and I'm thriving, I'm doing well. And the question I ask them is, how well are you really doing?
Indeed.
Because the fact that you have gotten married and you have children and you have a job does not mean that you are thriving and fully realizing your potential. And does not mean that you do not have some suppressed baggages of emotional trauma and anger that you just bust open every time somebody steps on your feet. So the challenge of parents or people in Nigeria and in Africa generally to say, I'm gonna open up my mind to collect or receive other methods and strategies that are evidence-based that can work for me. That is the main challenge I'm facing, because people are stuck on the old ways and the old ways has not helped us. Now, these new strategies on being a friend and a firm parent is coming out. This strategy of not just completely being very strict, but being firm, but fair. Carrot and stick approach. Rules, boundaries, limits, and love and encouragement. You need to balance it. There is a hard wall that I keep hitting every time I engage with parents. But I'm so happy that the parents within our age group, you know, are kind of more receptive of these ideas. Which leads me to the next challenge. People don't want to invest resources in learning these skills. My brother, you will not believe it.
Tell me about it. You know,
I received a call from a mother who says, my son is having rage and anger fits. And I'm like, we could help him. I can help him and work with this son. And she's like, oh, when I got your referral, I thought the sessions are gonna be free. And I'm like, yes, I have a session that is free that I give to you because I also have the humanity part of the work I do. But there's an intensive work I have to do with your son that is going to extend through sessions for a week, 2 or 3, depending on how receptive he is to shift and to change. So you make your choice. You want to receive the parent guide I'm going to give you for free? You can take it and go work with him. But you want me to work with you? You have to pay it. My dear, I'm yet to receive a call from her.
and that's the sad thing about us. Even today, I was having a conversation with another coach, another African coach, and he's sharing the same frustration, and that's part of the reason why everybody resorts to opening a church and and channeling everything through through the church and collecting offerings
Exactly.
and calling and
Oh,
cajoling people to sow unnecessary seeds because they don't want
oh,
to.
that's the only place where they would give.
Yeah, you know where they get lied to. But
Yeah,
I think it goes back to the whole mindset issue. As
yeah.
we, as this generation, our generation begins to invest in our own growth and development and see the value in this, we'll
Mm-hmm.
definitely pass it on. And so with time, we'll catch on to the rest of the world as
Yeah.
far as investing in personal growth and development. But I want to bring you back to something you talked about not too long ago,
Okay.
and that has to do with setting the boundaries, being firm and yet applying love.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even me, I don't get it totally. So,
Okay.
how can you simplify? I mean, can you give me an example? How can you
Okay.
explain it that the
Okay.
lay person can easily understand? Give us one typical example.
Okay. So you know that weighing scale that Mother Justice holds, right? There's this
Yeah,
weighing scale that has two sides.
yeah.
That is the picture of parenting. I say that parenting is like that weighing scale with two sides. On one side, you put your discipline and
Yeah.
correction. On the other side, you put your love and encouragement. So what it means is that whenever you have to discipline and correct your child, do it with love and accompany it with encouragement.
Okay.
So when I tell my daughter, come over here, you were just jumping on this stool and on this chair, and I've told you severally to stop doing this. And she goes, oh, Mom, at that moment that I need to choose between doing the right thing and the wrong thing, I always choose the wrong thing. I don't know how I can change my choice. I'm doing it exactly the way she did it to me, my
That's
dear.
it, right. And,
And
and
then
I'm
I'm
related
like,
to it somewhere.
yeah. And I'm like, okay. So because we've talked about this severally, and I've told you the next time you do this, there's gonna be a discipline. You're gonna have to go and learn a memory verse. Now, this is a child that loves to run around and jump and sing and dance. Sit in one place? No. So the best discipline for that child is to sit that child in one place. And she sits down and she begins to learn and she goes on and on. And after a few minutes, I come and I pick her up and I hug her. And I'm like, I'm so proud of you. You're so dedicated and committed serving your discipline. So,
Positive reinforcement.
yes, you don't just send off the child with the discipline and the child feels unloved. If you choose to discipline your child before and after, you explain to the child why you're meting out that discipline and correction. So the child knows that daddy loves me, and the child understands that the reason why daddy wants me to learn to obey rules is because I'm going to live in a country that has laws. And if I go around breaking all the laws, they're going to put a handcuff on my hand and send me to prison.
Mm-hmm.
So the parent communicates to the child that the rules and the laws are not about me being a boss. They are about your well-being, preparing you to be a functional adult. So that's where the child sees that this thing, it's really all about me, not about mom and dad trying to show that they are the authority, they have the power, they are in charge, and so on and so forth. So every time you discipline, you encourage the child. And sometimes when the child is expecting a discipline, extend grace. Choose to just not discipline.
Undeserved, unmerited favor.
Unmerited grace. And that's why I say we parent for God, we parent like God, and we parent with God. How many times have we failed God and we just go back and we just cry, you know, the prodigal son story in the Bible and so on, and he just embraces us and wipes our tears away after messing up time and time again. And that is exactly how the parents should be. So that's what I mean. Discipline and love, correction and encouragement. They have to go hand in hand. If you overlove the child, you spoil the child. If you discipline the child too much, you lose the child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there will be no relationship, and that child would just wait until they are 18. They leave your house, adios, never turning back. So you want to retain that relationship. You want to build that relationship because you want them to come back to you when they're teenagers for counsel. You want them to come back to you and say, I was thinking I was going to do it this way, but what do you think, Dad? What do you think, Mom? That relationship will be lost if all you do is criticize them, focus on what they do that is bad, keep talking about the wrong. But if once in a while you sit them down and you're like, you know what? I think you're one of the most creative children I've ever seen. I mean, you taught yourself how to braid your hair. You taught yourself how to lose your hair. You taught your sister how to say Dad and Mom. We're so proud of you. This is the conversation I had with my first daughter 2 days ago. For nothing. I just gave her that commendation. And you know what? Throughout the rest of the day, once it's time to take a bath, you know what? I decided today I'm going to be obedient about everything. Off I go, I'm going to take my bath. I injected into her some adrenaline that has inspired her to do more good.
Awesome, awesome. You know, it reminds me of you growing up, and I say this, our parents worked with whatever they had, okay?
Yeah.
Some of this knowledge wasn't available to them, you know, and I remember growing up, I really didn't have a relationship with my dad, you know. When we were home and Daddy was coming home, the moment you hear the car at the gate, you run it inside, you know, and then gradually, as he became exposed to some of these ideas, that shift began, you know, and by the time I turned 16, we had a really good bond, and you know, even when I left the house two years later, we maintained a really great relationship, and you know, turned out to be the best of friends before he passed. But it didn't start that way, you know, and I'm glad and grateful that I don't know how I think from reading and you know, because you know, coming on to the internet and all those things, he was able to catch it quick, and so. But yeah, so some of the parents who grew up in the 50s and 60s, they weren't exposed to all these ideas, and now it is on us to make that change. And so, thank you so much. So let's talk about your upcoming master class.
Yeah. So
what is it about? When is it? What are the details?
Okay. So this master class was born out of a brick wall I hit. I have been working with a couple of parents on this parenting support group, and they were learning a lot of tips, learning a lot of strategies, and learning a lot of new practices in positive parenting. But whenever they go to practice, they come back with a particular complaint. I can't stop yelling. I can't stop shouting. And when I say it is possible to parent without yelling and shouting, and they're like, talk to me about the Oyibo thing. Are you talking to me about the Oyibo thing?
The white man's thing, eh?
The white man thing, yeah. And I'm like, you know what? When I first stumbled on this, I also thought it was impossible. But I challenged myself and I rose to that challenge. And honestly, with every passing day that I work on myself to say, I choose not to yell. I choose not to shout. I choose not to scream. I choose to respond to the thing or the person that makes me angry in a good way, in a positive and constructive way. It took a lot out of me. It took me back to do a lot of things. And I've practiced these steps and it has helped me. It has improved my relationship with my daughters. tell you what, it has improved my relationship with my spouse.
Yes, because there's
So
no times that we make each other, you touch some buttons and you're like,
exactly.
yeah, whether knowingly or not, we do,
We do step on each other's toes.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah.
And I just discovered that the foundation or the pivotal point of a parent truly practicing positive parenting is self-regulation.
Right.
So in July, we decided to take these parents on a journey of self-regulation, which informed the early morning motivationals that we're doing. So every morning, we give them a clip and they watch it and it energizes them. They have a task to do and it focuses them on something to do. And then I discovered that those clips are not enough. More questions were coming, more concerns were coming, and then we decided to do the masterclass. So this masterclass is happening on Sunday. That's exactly like 6 days from today, and
Right.
by 7 p.m. Nigeria time. So
Okay.
it's basically going to expose parents and even those who are not parents. If you're an adult, you live with human beings and you work with human beings, you need to come and learn how to transform your anger. Now, what I tell people is that anger is like a child. You don't want to put anger in the driver's seat. No, you don't want anger to hijack your life or hijack your brain. Neither do you want anger to be in the trunk. You don't want to throw your child in the trunk.
Definitely
So
not.
anger has its role if you put it in its place. Because people who suppress and stuff anger do not get to stand up for themselves when they should. They don't get angry enough to make the necessary change in their lives.
Right.
So what I'm going to be teaching at that masterclass is every time anger comes, it is knocking on your door and is telling you, hi, I've got a message for you. Somebody just stepped on your boundary. Somebody just violated your boundaries. And that is why anger rises up and it wants to protect you. So what we're going to be learning is the details of what happens between the moment you get angry and the moment you react. There is something that takes place and most of us are not aware because it happens so fast, which is your thoughts. So your thoughts are responsible for your reactions, not the events, not the challenge, not the problem. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. What's happening in there? How am I going to change it? How am I going to shift it?
To respond? The event we don't have control over, but you certainly have control over your response.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that will determine the outcome that you experience.
Yeah. So we're going to learn how to delay response. We're going to learn how to delay reactions until you sort out and go through your thought process and then shift it and focus it towards the positive. And if it's a negative, it's a lesson you want to learn. And then you decide to calm down before you express yourself about how you feel about how the person has made you feel. So those are the tools we're going to be sharing during that masterclass.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
And for those who want to join the masterclass, we'll have the link shared at the bottom of this video so that you can. Do you have an Eventbrite page created already for it?
Yeah, we do. So I'm going to share the link with you so that you can share with all your links and your contacts. And I'm going to also share the details for you for anyone who would like to make payments for the masterclass. Yes.
Okay. And I know you mentioned on Sunday, what is it again in both Naira and dollars?
Yes, it's $12 only. That's 4,500.
Wow.
Only. I'm giving you the COVID-19 discounted rate, guys, because I know, I know that a lot of us parents are so frustrated with the situation. Our lives are now Saturday every day.
Right.
You know, it was just Saturday that we used to spend morning till evening with our children. Now 247, they are there. Wait. I know we all need this, but I want people to place value. It's not really about the money. You know, that's something that when people pay, no matter how little, they place value on it. So this would motivate them to attend the class. This would motivate them to do the follow-up activities, because nobody wants to say, oh, I invested this amount and just dump it and so on. So that's
there's
the
going to be
motivation.
resource material shared with them, with
Yes.
participants, workbook and stuff.
Yes, yes. We're gonna have workbooks, and we're gonna have a journal. We're gonna have an emotional fitness journal. It's gonna be in soft copy, so we send to you, and you can print it and write your feelings, because we're gonna be learning how to name our feelings, how to interact with the feeling, and how to do all the stuff we're gonna learn. Yeah.
All right, all right. So let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to switch the tables here and talk about how I can support you. Now that you've supported my audience, let's talk about how we can support you.
Okay.
All right, welcome back. We're here with Coach Ruchina. How do I put it? The positive parenting or family? How do you? I know it's relationship and positive parenting coach. Okay,
Yes.
yeah. Relationships and or parent. Which comes first? Positive parenting.
It's parenting. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Parents, and relationship coach. Yeah.
Parenting and relationship coach. Awesome,
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, in the first half of the session, we talk about what you were doing, and it's exciting to see the kind of impact you're making. And but as a coach myself, one of the things that I know is it's hard. We spend so much time, we give out so much in serving others that sometimes we forget to serve ourselves. So in this 20 minutes, how can I serve you?
Well, this is so exciting because we want to start our regional conventions.
Okay.
Yeah. And the idea is we want to go to some selected countries and replicate our life preparedness program. So all those skills I talked to you about are the life readiness program. We have the work readiness program and the school readiness program. So those are the three segments. So this part prepares you for life, prepares you to function as an adult. So we feel like these are skills and these are programs that is much needed in Africa, not just in Nigeria. While Nigeria is our flagship country where we have practiced for a while and we have some lessons learned, we're hoping to go to some 5 or 6 countries in 2021. So I really, really feel like you already have these networks, you have this experience and expertise in making some country and, you know, even within Africa and international kind of correspondences and networking and all that. So I'm gonna really need your help in this area to kind of sit with me and let's do the zoning and see what is gonna come up when and who we're gonna involve as a partner. We're really in need of partners because so far we've not really gotten any official support from donors. We've been working with, you know, what we raise, you know, so we really would hope to have the privilege of connecting with you, getting your support and the partnership. That is the first part. I gave you the huge one first.
That is no problem at all. You know, I mean, whatever it is that's needed in terms of my own skill sets, my network, my connections, my abilities, you've got it. You know, we go way back, and I didn't share how we connected, you know, but yeah, let's hear the second part.
Okay, the second part is I kind of have some issues reaching out to fathers. Honestly, you know, we discussed this yesterday morning during the chat where I mentioned that I keep seeing the mothers. The mothers join the Facebook group, the mothers join the WhatsApp support group, and I can boldly, proudly say that we have like 5 or 7 fathers that have joined those groups, most times mothers are the ones who join the group. And I honestly feel like if we have more people advocating for fathers to equip themselves with information and get to attend these workshops and trainings, I think it would maybe destigmatize this whole feeling of, oh, for me to go for a training or interact with a coach or a mentor means that I'm not man enough. Or I feel like you would relate to whatever the feelings the men are having. And you have a lot of experience in this coaching thing. And I feel like if we can partner to do some live stream sessions together and reach out to men so that they can come and join the mothers and learn. Because the problem we're having is the mother learns, then she goes back home. As she's working, the father who is not well informed of the change she's making is kind of still working with the old strategy. Exactly. And
so let's slow down. Let's slow down here. Yeah, certainly, there's a lot that we're going to do together. But what I'm interested in right now is what can you do? Let's take me out of the equation. You mentioned that you work with 5 fathers already,
Yeah.
5 or so.
Yeah.
What made those 5 fathers to come to you?
Yeah. I think what pulled most of them were, there is 1 or 2 that have worked with me before and they have just been interested. But those that have joined were as a result of 1 or 2 joined because they like what their wives are doing. And they're like, okay, let's go to that place where you're getting this information and let's get more help. And then there was the other that joined because the wife is like, you need to join me because I need you to be on board. Okay, so there has been 2 or 3 reasons like that that has made fathers to join. But most times it's more around, we're busy, don't worry, my wife hears it, it's as good as I've heard it, and so on.
What has been the response from those fathers who came?
Wow, very, very positive. They are very active and positive, and they are working towards making positive change. And they are very active on the platform as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what if, have you considered the possibility of getting them to share their own testimonials and use that as a means of connecting with other fathers?
Okay, that is a fantastic idea. I think I'm gonna take this up. I'm gonna do this so that maybe they can write something or do a video clip or something. Just
Preferably a video clip.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do, obviously we laughed about it a bit,
Yeah.
but I think Africa now has one of the largest. I mean, it doesn't matter whether Christian or Muslim anyway. But we're religious people.
Yes.
And we look highly to our religious leaders.
Yes.
So one of the things you can do is to, again, use these videos, but reach out to religious leaders, the religious communities, because if you get, 1 bishop or 1 imam of a good mosque, your job as a master mentor, as a master coach is not to try to reach every man in Africa, every man in Nigeria. Yeah. All right. So there are two things that I see you need to start to think about. One, obviously you're doing the master class, that's good, but then we also need to look at how you can produce recorded sessions. Or even you've done some manuals, maybe it's time to do some books. It's time to do some quests, some learning experiences. I don't call them online courses, but online learning experiences that people can watch even when you're not there. It doesn't always have to be you appearing live. Okay. So what happens is you connect with these religious leaders, you connect with political leaders, may or may not, but and then also the large corporations. The large corporations, even, so find leaders. If targeting the men is an issue, then go to the people who lead men. like I'll share an experience with you. A few years ago, I had a session with the senior officers of our armed forces. Okay, the problem that they were having, the challenges that were being experienced, were coming from the women. The complaints were coming from the women more, you know. And the head of he's now the chief of staff. At the time, he was like number 3 now. I mean, he called me up and said, "Hey, I need you to talk to my senior officers. I need you to work with my senior officers." Yeah. And we spent some time together, and the results were great. Okay, wow. Because their commander asked them to be there, yeah. Whether or not they came willingly, yeah. They became a part of it. That's right. So if you, for example, if you are able to get the army, the military involved, because the military has a lot of men, the police has a lot of men, and if you can get the leadership to buy in, now it trickles down to the undermen. So it's an issue. Like my coach reminded me the other time about going deep versus growing wide. Okay. All right. For those of us who are championing different causes in Africa right now, it's not about trying to go too wide. Okay. Because when we go wide, we burn out quick and we die. Yeah. Yeah. So our job is to go deep. When you can work with leaders and make sure that you find strategic people that you work with who in turn will have the effect that you want to have. That's one of the things that caused me to take a step back and start to work with other African coaches, other coaches in general, who are coming along, who have been, when I started coaching, in 2010, coaching wasn't even, I don't know if it was even something that we're talking about much in Africa, or at least in West Africa. And now other people are coming along. And so connecting with coaches and sharing experiences, my impact can go deeper and then it spreads out. So I recommend you look at it rather than trying to reach the ordinary men, and let's see how we can reach the leaders of men. Okay. And they can have their subordinates and their people, the influence, come on board. Okay. But certainly those men who have experienced the power of what you do will definitely be good ambassadors to share the message. Definitely. Yeah.
This is also fantastic. Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You also mentioned partnership. Yeah. When you say partnership, are you looking at it from a funding perspective, or let's say from a resource perspective, or what is it?
Yeah, so I'm looking at it from a work together point of view, where there are resources and skills that your outfit has or your organization has and your team has, and there are some that I have. So sitting together to agree on saying, okay, we can provide this skill or this workforce or this resource, and then we can take care of this part, because I know that we cannot take on this feat as an island. We have to work with partners who have skills and resources and experience in certain areas, where they can just say, you know what, this area, we're going to handle it for you. And the branding and everything would take on the logos and whatever communication materials of everybody that is a partner on the intervention. So that's the kind of thing I'm looking at.
Okay. So what comes to mind is to ask a question. Currently, do you have a team, or is it just you that's doing all the work?
Yeah, I have a team. I had a team of 15 volunteer staff in Abuja, but I had to move to Lagos, to join my husband. He's been here since 2014, and I had to join him in Lagos, yes. So, and currently I have a team of 4 in Lagos. So we're still building.
Okay. So one of the things that you can do as far as partnership is concerned is to leverage LinkedIn.
Okay.
People underestimate the power of LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a powerful, very, very powerful tool for strategic partnerships if you utilize it properly.
Okay.
Maybe subsequently I can share some ideas with you. For example,
Okay.
if your profile is properly optimized, you can
Yeah.
identify, once you've identified the area that you need partnership in, you can now find companies who share a similar vision to yours in that
Okay.
area.
Okay.
They have advanced search features that you can type in specific keywords like parenting.
Yeah.
I know there are Christian organizations that are huge into parenting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about Jewish and other religious organizations may also have parenting programs that I may not be familiar with, but we can search. So
Okay.
finding those institutions that are already involved with parenting. Also look at mission-based businesses, whether they're
Okay.
in Nigeria or not. There are businesses that will tell you, hey, we're not just about making money, but we have this big mission, so you can team up with, you can research them. And yeah, so those are places that you can start. And maybe subsequently we can talk about, you know, one idea at a time. But in terms of your volunteers, one of the things that we need to leverage, again, I like the fact that you have this going on, the master class coming on for $10. I mean, for $12.
Mm-hmm.
Consider doing regular fundraisers.
Okay.
Like talk to supermarket authorities and place
Okay.
a donation box there.
Okay.
Some of the churches that you go to, or some of the religious institutions that you go to, as
Yeah.
they encourage their men to join, they can also take up
Yeah.
special contributions to support the work, because obviously even if you have volunteers, you need to provide
Yeah.
coffee for them, you need to provide some transportation and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
There's also I can't remember it now, but there's also a way to partner with the UN, because when you look at the long-term effect of what you're doing, it
Yeah.
is also contributing to meeting the sustainable development goals and what human
Yeah.
development indexes and all those things. So
Yeah.
um, there are ways that you can also partner with UN organizations, especially as it relates to child rights. I
Yeah.
mean, because if parents are abusive, they're violating child rights. So
Yeah.
teaching positive parenting enhances child rights. So
Yeah.
yeah, from that angle, you can also connect with some of the UN and other international NGOs that work to protect children, like Save the Children,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Are you connected to some of them already?
Yeah, I've worked with some of them, so I have some contacts there. So what I can do is I'm gonna like maybe put up a proposal or something to to see them and
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing a proposal right away. I'd recommend connecting with
okay.
you using your network to connect with whether it's a country director or country manager, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
maybe invite them to some of your sessions as speakers, as speakers. That's a good way. Whenever
Okay.
you want to
Okay.
raise money from a top brand, try to get them to come and speak at your event.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
always worked for me.
Okay. Okay. Wow. This is a
Uh-huh.
great tip. This is a
Yeah.
great tip.
Yeah, just invite them to speak at the event, because now when they come, they see the people, they hear some of the stories, they see the impact. You can
Yeah.
go back and say, "Hey, Oga, you see, we need to up this game." So
Yes, so they
yeah,
connect with the passion and you become
yes.
interested.
And
Yes.
you don't have to do any selling. They see it for themselves.
Yes.
And the next best thing is to send them videos. But yeah, if you can get them to appear, that would be the best thing. You know.
Okay.
And a lot of and that's something that a lot of NGOs do. They just send proposals. The best thing to do is to connect and then let the funder say, send me a proposal,
Oh
because that
yeah.
a solicited proposal
Oh,
that they are
yeah.
expecting.
They're interested in
Right.
investing in.
If they tell you to send them a proposal, chances are they have the money to fund it.
Oh,
But if
that's
you
true.
take all the time to do a proposal and submit it to an organization that doesn't have the interest or the money to fund it, then you're wasting time.
Oh, so true. Wow, this is amazing. This is so good.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thank
5
you.
minutes.
Wow.
What do you want to talk
Okay.
about? What do you want to what do you want to leave with us?
Okay. So I'm just gonna say this is so amazing, and I knew that we were gonna talk about us, what we do, and but I had no idea that I was gonna be mentored. Wow. And I'm just realizing that it's been a while that I got this kind of rich, like got fed by someone as experienced as yourself. I respect your work so much. I do.
I'm humble
Yeah,
and so
and I'm really excited about reconnecting with you. And I have learned so much. As you can see, I've been writing.
I can see that. Yeah.
I've learned so much, and I assure you, I'm gonna follow through with a lot of these suggestions. And when I hit a bottleneck, I'm gonna run back to you.
Please reach out. Please reach out. Please reach out. Yeah. And I'm gonna be. I mean, this contributes to the larger plan, the larger vision that we have for the continent. And there are a lot of things happening behind the scenes. We're trying to put an international board together, but we'll talk more off air subsequently. And yeah, there's a lot happening. Hopefully the COVID situation will wind down and then we can get flying, because certainly I've been coming to Nigeria for so long I've not reached. So I need to get there as quickly
Yeah,
as possible, connect with you
yeah,
guys, and let's bring like-minded people together, just like
yeah,
yourself, doing different
yeah,
things. We can support a lot of work together.
yeah.
So
That's so amazing. I look forward to that. Thank you
it's
so
gonna
much,
happen.
Dan. Yes.
Yeah.
Please, my love to the beautiful princess and her royal highness.
Thank you very much. I will convey the message, and
Thank you.
thank you. The same. My regards to your husband and the kids, and
Thank you.
yeah, it's gonna be great. And so, thanks for showing up.
This
Let's
has
make
been
it better.
amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good
Bye.
evening.
Thank you. You too. Yeah.
Bye.